And make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you ring that notification bell, and make sure to share this with everyone you know to help us beat that massive YouTube algorithm.
So a hero's friends are absolutely vital to their success as a hero. We need supporting characters like Sokka and Katara and Ron and Hermione. And yet, the Harry Potter movies didn't like what the books did. So let's get into our discussion about the book Ron and Hermione versus the movie Ron and Hermione.
Everyone, thanks for checking out our discussion, and we hope that you guys grab your favorite drinks to have with us. And cheers, let's get into it. Okay, what the hell was wrong with Hermione and Ron? That's
what we're trying to discuss here.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's my problem with Ron, being the movie guy. Because I still like the movies, some of the later ones.
The movies are actually decent movies outside of, like, well, for me, it's like 4 and 6. But I have issues with 3, but it's actually a decent film.
I didn't like Half-Blood Prince. I really...
No,
and Goblet of Fire is hit or miss for me, just depending on the day that I watch it. Or
that dragon, dude. I swear to God.
Anyway, but no. So here's my problem. Here's my thing, right? Because in 1 and 2, I always really liked Ron. Yeah. Because he was the backup guy, and like I said, as a kid me,
when Harry would sit there and go, "I can't do this anymore," Ron was just like, "I got you, dude."
Yeah, I got you. I can't do this.
Yeah.
He kind of similar to the Samwise role, right? I can't do this, but I can play the role that I need to make sure that you can get done with you. And I love that.
It's not about me. It's not about Hermione. It's about you.
Exactly.
That's what he says when he's on the chess board.
Yeah, and I love that, and I love that in Ron in the movies.
Yes.
Until the third one.
The third one you started to see it by the time we hit 4.
They treated him like a background prop. And you can see it.
Worse than that, he was
look at some of the scenes. If you look, look, I'm telling, this bothered me because we just went through the Harry Potter movies not too long ago.
Okay, yeah.
And
actually, I did not too long ago.
Ours was like a month-ish ago. But because you and I just had a conversation about it, and so then I talked with my wife about it, and we're like, hey, let's watch the movie. So, but there are scenes in The Prisoner of Azkaban where Ron is purposely placed in the back. He'll say something real quick, and then the camera will focus, and then Ron just has to sit there with.
I know, and
some kind of a look on his face, and he was, and you started to see it in 3. They subjected him to a background character, and you lost the Samwise character, and I hated that.
Absolutely.
I hated his treatment.
And here's the problem, right?
How was he in the books?
In the books, he's always outside of that brief moment in 7. When he has the Horcrux around his neck, that is the only time he really falters. And obviously they have their ups and downs in their fights. When Harry gets,
you and I,
becomes Triwizard Champion,
get some whiskey in us, and you and I'll have a fight.
Yeah. We've proven that. But no, it's
which is why we don't drink whiskey on stream.
That's it. Or just in general.
Yeah.
But no, it's when Harry got the nomination for Triwizard Champion, the 4th one, which was already kind of a big deal on its own, you see Ron really struggle with this because he's always Harry's backup character, and now Harry's just going for even more. This isn't saving the stone from Voldemort. This isn't, saving his sister from the Chamber of Secrets. This isn't, saving Sirius from a horde of Dementors. This isn't some hero moment. This is just Harry showboating. Yeah. That's Ron's perspective. And they're teenagers. They're 14.
Yeah.
And so you see that jealousy play in, but in the movies, you don't get any of that. He just looks petulant. I'm sorry, he does. This is my biggest complaint.
Well, he went from how does a guy go from a substantial chess player in 1 to this nervous tick kind of like weird. I don't know what the hell the directors were telling him to do, but it's blatantly obvious. They did not want. They wanted it Harry because the movies are Harry Potter.
Well, yeah.
But they wanted to steal what was ever in Ron's character and give it to Hermione. For what reasons, I don't know. But
because if you actually listen to the screenwriters, and a lot of the screenwriters stayed movie to movie. Obviously, directors changed.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at the producers and the screenwriters, a lot of them said their favorite character was Hermione.
So unintentionally, they just kind of made her.
Well,
way.
you lean that way, and then eventually, at some point, you just kind of lean over and you fall, right?
And like I said, I had nothing. I liked Hermione's character for. I did not like her in Goblet of Fire. I did not like the portrayal of Hermione in the Goblet of Fire. She was too overly emotional in comparison to how she'd been in the other movies.
Well, that's the thing. Again, this is all the context that's getting lost from the books. Is that, and this is actually ties into movie 3 as well, which is a fine film on its own, but compared to the book, it misses a lot. The fight between Ron and Hermione over Scabbers, when Scabbers looks like he got eaten by the cat.
Right.
That isn't a couple snide comments. That is a full-blown knockdown drag-out.
Right.
And Harry's stuck in the middle between the two because he goes, Hermione, you really should have kept a lid on your cat. And Ron, dude, you hated that rat. Come on. And so, no, you really need that nuance, that character building. And the problem I really have is that they mellowed Hermione a lot in the movies to make her more...
presentable?
Acceptable? I don't know. They just mellowed her personality.
Right.
A fair amount to make her more likable, at least. Because keep in mind, all the characters are flawed. Ron has problems with confidence. Hermione has problems with overconfidence. And then Harry has problems with anger. He always feels very put upon.
See, I never got that from the movies at all. And maybe that's something else that we need to...
We can go into that at another time. But these are all character traits that are there present throughout the length of the novels.
Well, like I said...
And so... But... My biggest thing is that they robbed Ron of so much of his agency and gave it to Hermione that he kind of lost his point as a character. And I can point to one scene where you see the switch happen. And it's when Draco Malfoy on the Quidditch pitch calls Hermione a mudblood. And Ron attacks him with a broken wand, and that's what causes him to get the slugs.
Yeah.
And so, they don't want to take him to Pomfrey because... Hagrid's is closer. That's the rationale in the books. And Hagrid's, he's Hagrid.
Yeah.
And
he's a trusted. I always read that as they went to Hagrid because he was trusted, and that actually came across in the movies. Yeah. At least in the movies, we're gonna go to Hagrid because we trust Hagrid. We know he's not gonna rat us out. We know he's not gonna narc on us.
And it's not that you get detention on top of this because you try to curse a student. No, Hagrid's gonna go. All right, I know enough magic to know that. Okay, drink this. Chew on that, and a little counter.
And don't do that again. And Hagrid was going to ask, why did you try to do this?
And then when...
But anyway, go on. Go on with the scene. But I know the scene you're talking about.
When they, finally, get to the point, when Hagrid asks, why did he try to curse Malfoy in the first place?
Yeah.
And Hermione chimes in and goes, he called me something. I didn't really get it. Keep in mind, Hermione is Muggle-born. She did not grow up around wizards.
Yeah.
Nor did Harry. So Ron, being our wizard-born character, he's the one that explains. He explains how mudblood is a criticism of people who are born of non-wizard descent. And it's him being a wizard explaining this. In the movies, Hermione just knows.
Yeah. Yeah. And
12 years old. Keep in mind, she's 12 in that movie. The character
and had learned enough about it to and again
to understand essentially what is a slur.
Well, and
at 12 and just off the top of her head, because Hermione just knows everything off the top of her head, right? No, that's not true. And Hermione does have faults in the books. One thing that is very well established is that she's not very good at chess.
Right.
And Ron is, and Harry is middling.
Right.
And so, they both think that having Hermione be bad at something is actually kind of a good thing for her.
Right.
And so, but you don't ever see a fault in Hermione in that way. She has to struggle more with emotional things than she ever has to struggle with not being good at something. She's always good at something.
Yeah.
And that's not terrible character development. It's just not the same. And I think it actually misses some of the points of her character is that one thing you see in the books a lot with Hermione, she's not actually very good under pressure, which is probably why she's not very good at chess. When it comes, the Devil's Snare scene is another great one. The Devil's Snare in the movie goes Ron panicking and Hermione figuring it out and succeeding.
Right.
And then Harry follows suit. In the book, it's, Devil's Snare, the rhyme, but hates the sun. Well, then light a fire. But there's no wood. And then Ron comes in. Are you a witch or not? And it's Ron that has to snap her out of that. She's panicking, thinking almost like a non-magic, a muggle at that point, but there's no wood.
Well, because that's something that I again, you didn't see any of that until, because go back to the train ride in Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, across much of the world. But go back into the first movie, and it was Ron sitting there teaching both Hermione and Harry about, no, this is how things work in the wizard world.
Oh, the chocolate frogs.
Yeah, the chocolate frogs, and he goes, hey, he's gone. And Ron, and what was so funny, I love about this scene, because Dumbledore disappears, and he goes, well, you can't expect him to stick around all day, can you?
No, he was the magical expert. That's normal
Which
for
is
him.
so funny, because a play on baseball cards, well, it's just a printed picture.
Right.
It's always going to be there. And I love that. And I love that Ron, again, in Sorcerer's Stone, Ron's sitting there. He's playing chess. I do not understand how to play chess, primarily because I didn't have good people teaching me when I was younger.
We'll teach you.
Yeah,
it's a valuable game to learn.
Actually, it's for my children. I actually do want to learn, and I want to teach them.
But Ron was a chess master at 11.
Yeah, but what was it? It was the bishop picks up the chair and smashes the thing.
Yeah.
And Hermione in the movie was like, that's barbaric. And he goes, that's wizard's chess.
Again, he understands the world. And then by the time we hit movie 2, all of a sudden she knows the world better than he does.
Well,
and
we're starting to get there. We're starting to get there in 2, but we're not quite all the way there. But by 3, Ron was a background character. Ron was a background character.
Or look at the fight between them in 4 with when they go to the dance, which is prom for wizards.
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah, it's keep in mind that
this is why I waffle back and forth between Goblet of Fire as to whether it's on my worst list or it's on my best list.
Here's the thing: the Yule Ball in 4, and I don't think the movie set it up. I watched it recently, but I don't remember if they've ever set this up. It's tied to the Tri-Wizard Tournament.
They did set it up. They did say that. They did. I do remember that.
So that's not Wizard Prom in that it happens every year. That is a special...
No, that is a special event, and it's McGonagall, which, by the way, the actress that played her, amazing.
Oh, yes. It's another Emma, I think. That's Trelawney.
But no, the actress that played McGonagall, amazing.
Oh, she's fantastic.
I think she did the last 3 or 4 movies fighting cancer.
She's as tough as McGonagall.
She is, and I love her. But anyway,
that whole fight... Where, keep in mind, that is another scene where, it is kind of that 80s, the tomboy is actually the hot chick sort of trope.
Yeah.
But, it plays out so...
Oh my god, it is!
Yes, it is. And that does exist to a point in the book.
Actually, I never caught that. Okay, no.
But, yeah.
But they did that very well. Okay, go on.
But anyway, in the books, Ron is already sullen... from the jump, by the time they get there, he doesn't want to be there. He's got secondhand robes that are like 200 years out of fashion.
Yeah.
And then, he has like this light bulb eureka moment that, oh, right, Hermione, you're a girl, you can come with us. And she doesn't, respond angry. She just gets cold. She's just like, oh, thank you for noticing.
Wow. Yeah.
But then the fight between
that was one thing is they did not properly build up the romance between Hermione and Ron in the movies.
No, they never did. And
then all of a sudden at the end they're married and you're like, all right,
wait a minute.
That was so wrong too.
Let me this all ties back into that Yule Ball thing. Keep in mind Ron's jealousy of, because keep in mind the boy she goes with, Victor Crumb, was like a
Crumb. Sorry.
He was Todd Helton to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you not in Colorado, I don't know sports ball well enough to make another reference, but
Todd Helton's was one of the best batters in Rockies history.
And first baseman.
And first baseman. Todd Helton was we know very little about sports, but Todd Helton, Larry Walker, y'all deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Indeed.
Both of them.
And so, but Crumb was his idol. That was his.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's seeing this girl he's trying to not have feelings for, and I stress that point.
They kind of showed that. They did kind of show that. But they didn't.
That fight scene ends with Hermione chewing him out, saying that, and the line I think is actually kept mostly intact. Next time ask me first, not as a last resort.
Yes.
That line, I think, is mostly true to the book.
Yes.
But she doesn't collapse like a teenager on the staircase. She storms off to the girls' dormitory and just leaves Ron sitting there kind of like, And then Harry's sitting there twiddling his thumbs going, I'm not here.
Well, see, yeah. But my problem is that you get Hermione as this, not just this very intellectual wizard who's like, hey, I just learned this, we can use this here. But as this character in the movies that's just so overly intellectual, it's really hard to kind of sympathize with her because she just knows everything. Well, she's that character. She's that.
And the other thing that they miss, and I'm talking
she is like they treated Hermione as like the intellectual MacGuffin.
Indeed,
if we don't know how to do it,
then
just
Hermione
ask
does.
Hermione does.
But there's so many times that it's not Hermione that does it. It's Ron. Oftentimes will chime in because he was raised in the wizarding world.
He comes from a long lineage of it, if I'm not mistaken.
And there are multiple.
Actually, no, he's a pureblood. There
are multiple scenes where Ron he's not this sarcastic comic relief dickhead. He is a very stalwart friend to both of them. And that scene where Snape is teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts as for Lupin.
Yes.
In 3. And Snape, goes, that is the second time you've spoken out of turn, Miss Granger. That's 10 points from Gryffindor for being an insufferable know-it-all. I'm no Alan Rickman, but
Alan Rickman.
But
it ain't Christmas. It ain't Christmas until he falls off
for being an insufferable know-it-all.
Sorry, everybody knows Alan Rickman from Harry Potter. I grew up with the Die Hard movies,
right?
So I grew up with him as Hans Gruber. When I saw him
as Snape,
I was like, wait a minute, I was like 10. Sorry, just side thing here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I get to that area and I was just like, wait a minute.
No,
ain't John McClane throw him off a building?
Yeah, right. But
John McClane, why he magic now? Is that what happens when John McClane throw you off? Like as a 10-year-old, which admittedly my parents should probably not have let me watch Die Hard when I was young.
Maybe not, but that's a different discussion.
I love Die Hard.
It's one of those things where.
All right, so when Hans Gruber is talking to Hermione,
and for being an insufferable know-it-all,
yeah.
And Ron in the movie just goes, he's got a point, In the books, he stands up. He rises up. 13, he rises up and goes, well, why'd you ask a question if you didn't want to answer? She knows. And he gets detention. He stands up for Hermione. That's Ron's character.
Because he was the Samwise character.
Yes.
He was, when my friends can't do it, or when there's something going at them, I'm going to stop. I'm going to step in and I'm going to do what I need to do it. And they really didn't. Not only that, but you never got a vulnerable moment with Hermione very much in the movies.
The best you got was like the dance.
Yeah, the dance, but you didn't really get this vulnerable moment with Hermione because again they just shifted so much of those many moments that you've told me about. I've not read the books, but so many of those moments
because like I said, so many of Ron's moments onto her that they kind of covered up any chinks in her armor.
Exactly, and as teenagers, as friends, as confidants, as movie protagonists, you need chinks in the armor. Why do you have, a cavalcade of people if they're not going to be there for each other?
Right.
And when one of them doesn't really need, and one of them doesn't really need people to be there, then you kind of end up in this situation where you're just like, well, what the hell?
The other thing is that they completely changed the relationship of the characters too. Ron becomes Harry's sidekick, not his best friend. Hermione becomes
sidekick? No, Hermione becomes Harry's sidekick in the movies. I'm sorry, Ron's a prop in the movies. Watch after 2.
Okay, we're saying the same thing, just different language here.
No.
Because I view sidekick as less than best friend. Like, as in that guy that is always there, his brother.
But he's not even a sidekick, though. That's the problem. It's because how many instances in the movie does Ron contribute to? Okay, how much character building does Hermione have? Because I would argue Hermione does not have a lot of character build.
Not a ton, because you don't.
Because what you get again, 1 and 2. After that, Hermione doesn't build as a character.
She's just the expert. And the other thing is
and so they robbed that from her. They took that. I would love to, especially with as good as Emma Watson was at the role. I would have loved to have seen her.
She basically was Hermione.
I would love to have seen Emma Watson go through the character building of Hermione. I think Emma Watson really, and that's what pisses me off about the movies too, is that you had such a great cast, but you didn't utilize them. Well, it does now, but that's what I'm saying is a lot of movies didn't have great casts when they started. I'm sorry, Lord of the Rings, nobody thought that,
Elijah Wood was in Orlando Bloom, who's this nobody.
Yeah, that was his first role.
He did that Princess Bride movie, right?
Yeah, that was
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But no, but you robbed these actually really great actors, because what they were given, they executed well, and I will not say that any of these actors didn't play the roles well,
especially for kids.
Oh my God! Yeah. No, I will not say that those actors did not play their roles extremely well, because they did. What I am saying is that the writers robbed the actors from being able to fully explore those characters.
There's another,
and they kind of robbed the audience from it,
the dynamic too is that, especially book 3 is where you start to see a lot of the kind of like, shifting of the tensions, right? Between, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are obviously very good friends and obviously, very close people, but they are different. And there's actually a passage in the book where Harry, was trying to like mend fences between Ron and Hermione. You good? Okay.
No, really? It's just for some reason. It's actually all the weather change here. It's hot as hell. Anyway, go on.
What is that movie where they sit there and they scratch? Oh no, it's Supernatural, where they get the ghost sickness.
Eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight.
That copyright.
Sorry.
Anyway,
sorry.
But no, it's
check out our Supernatural episode.
Yes, indeed. But no, it's one of those things where there's a passage where this is Harry's internal voice, right?
Yeah.
Where it's, Hermione's a very good friend, but there's a lot less laughter and a lot more nights in the library when she's your best friend, and he misses Ron. And that's either 3 or 4. I forget if that's when Ron and Hermione are fighting over Scabbers or when Ron and Harry are fighting over the Triwizard Cup. Mm-hmm. But or the Triwizard Tournament entry. But you just start to see these things, and this is something that movie 3 butchered horribly. Is that the firebolt, the broomstick, the really, 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 really good broomstick that Harry gets from Sirius?
Yes.
That happens midway through the book. And we don't know who sent it. And Hermione goes to McGonagall saying that I think it was sent to Harry to kill him by Sirius Black, because they still think he's a bad guy.
Right.
And so McGonagall takes this, like,
and that's
Ferrari
that's where you show Hermione is intelligent, because she was very intelligent, but
she was right.
But she was learning intelligent.
But she was also right, but she didn't have the full context.
Well, and again, there was no character build.
And so,
with Hermione. You had 1 and 2, and again, 1 and 2 are totally different Harry Potter movies. Yeah. After that, you get into 3, and the characters are set, and they leave the characters that same way through.
But that fight between Harry, Ron, and Hermione over both the rat and the broomstick really tests them as friends. Because, if I said, hey, Royce, if a Ferrari rolls up in your driveway and you have the keys in it, right? Mm-hmm. And then I show up and say, no, there's a car bomb in it.
Yeah. No, and I totally
I can't prove anything. It's just a gut feeling.
Yeah. No, I get you there. And like I said, there's so much that those movies missed. There's character development. There's character changes.
And you see the same thing. Ron, when he becomes a Quidditch player in 5, goes through a lot of insecurities, and you see a bit of that in the movies. Where he's trying to play the goalie,
but he
the
goes
keeper.
To this oafish character after that. I hate it.
No, and he's very oafish about it. Whereas it's very well established in the books that he is a very capable player who lacks confidence. Right. That's why the luck potion tricks him in 6. Mm-hmm. Because it's not that he's incapable like the movies portray him. And then you watch that ego when he is all of a sudden the center of attention because he wins it during 5 because Harry gets banned by Umbridge.
Yeah.
And you watch that, and that's why he starts, pursuing Lavender Brown, who is a side character even in the books.
Right.
And then you see Hermione's jealousy come in. All we got in the movies
we never saw that.
In the movies, you get the bird scene where...
Yeah.
I think they were like paper plane birds in the movies, and they were actual birds in the books.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm getting told that we are out of time.
Yep.
Because we forgot to set the timer, so
Yeah,
keep
we totally
track
forgot
over
to
here.
set the
'Cause
timer on this one.
I don't wear a watch.
Yeah, I do wear a watch. Nope, totally forgot to set the timer on this one. It will be on the next one. But that's kind of our thoughts on just what they missed.
And it's hard
they
to
missed a lot, guys. They really did miss so much with Hermione and Ron.
And so much of it is nuance, and not things that are necessarily the most important, but they compile, they build on each other, and you get that nuance, you get that character development.
And that's what we're supposed to do. That's what movies are supposed to do. That's what media is supposed to do. And I'm sorry, I still, in the movies, because I'm a movie guy, I loved Ron in Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. I loved Ron in Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets.
He was actually his own character at that point.
Yeah, but I didn't like him after that. All of a sudden, he was just relegated to this background
Well,
character.
because they took all of Ron's positive traits, grafted them onto the character of Hermione.
Which then robs Hermione from any character building that she can actually
And
do.
so it's a disservice to both.
It really is. They shafted both characters.
You made Emma Watson a MacGuffin, and you made Rupert Grint a buffoon.
Which again, it's just a disservice to their acting capabilities.
That's what I just
because
said.
they're
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching A Drink with Crazy. Hopefully you enjoyed this A Drink with Crazy. And stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can support us even more. And we will see you next time.
Later, guys.
Thank you for watching A Drink with Crazy. If you liked the conversation, make sure to click here to see more.